Hey guys, JS here, hope all is well. Hey, check this out. I never thought I would go down this direction, but I guess you can't be in the gun world and not really be exposed to things like this and think that you wouldn't eventually get to this point. But after shooting my Canic so much in all my training classes, it is true what they say, that Canic's, its trigger is just fantastic. The pull, the reset, my ability to shoot it accurately, everything like that. Admittedly, I give my Canic a lot more airtime at every other week when I'm training than I do my Glock, this Glock 19. So he was feeling a little lonely. So I made it my best effort to get out there with my Glock, and I noticed every time I shoot my Glock, I love Glocks. I'm a Glock guy. It's just I didn't shoot it as good as my Canic. So I decided to give it a go again in a recent training class. And my accuracy was, it's all trigger pull. It's front sight focus and trigger pull, of course. I know that. I know it's the person and not the tool. But it's just one of those things that I knew that my trigger and this Glock with its, 5.5 to 6 pound trigger, I knew that had a bearing. It's either the trigger or it's me. I wasn't comfortable. So having said that, I walked into my gun store and they gladly, of course they did, willingly sold me a Zev. All right, I didn't know much about this, but it was an impulse buy. I got to tell you, man, long story short, it was great. I'm so glad I left the store and plopped down the money. And this is one of those, fair warning, man, buy once, cry once. Apex triggers, all these brands. Yeah, but how many average Joes can go out and try all these various triggers? We just don't, unless you don't have a sponsor giving them to you and things like that. Or you just kind of a gadget guy and you just, change out thousands. So I went with the Zev. It's what my store had, and here we are. So pricey, $179.99. Okay. Zev Advanced drop-in trigger for the Gen 4 9mm. This guy right here. This is not going to be an install video. There are plenty of those out there that get into the bits and the bytes and the whole kit and caboodle. It's more of an overview. One of the things the Zev has, this is my original Glock factory one. It had the kind of the rounded trigger. And again, it shoots 5.5 to 6 pounds. Your factory trigger will lighten up over time. It is a fact, all right? Even Larry Vickers walked in our training class and started giving us a lecture, and I asked him about it. He goes, yeah, Glocks do lighten up. Essentially what you get with the Zev is they do all these components. This piece, exactly the same. Even to the same number, whatever that means, okay? And then the polished trigger bar, all this is polished, does have a factor. This is what they call the Fulcrum Trigger. And it's the competition model. Here's what it comes with. Again, I already have it installed on this guy. This is unloaded, by the way. So basically, you're getting a 2 and a 3 pound striker spring. Here's the deal. This is the striker, the part that goes forward and strikes a bullet. It's in the top of the slide, right back here, okay? You come with a 2 pound or a 3 pound. I instantly jumped to conclusion of I did not want my whole action, the whole trigger, to be too light. I don't want any negligent discharges. I want things to be 100% reliable. But I do want a crisper trigger break. I want a smoother trigger. I want a shorter reset, just like I have on my Canic. I was not getting that with the factory Glock. If yours shoots great for you, keep it that way. If you shoot a lot and you know what I'm talking about and you haven't tried another aftermarket trigger, try it. This is for you. All right, quickly, the striker, right? This is a spring that goes around the striker pin that hits the back of the bullet, which is the primer, ignites, goes boom. I want mine to continue to go boom, 100% reliable. So there's a 2 pound before it goes and a 3 pound. I think this is called the duty spring. I went with the 3 pounder. I had seen some initial feedback, again, have not experienced it. This is secondhand, that the 2 pounders can cause light primer strikes. All right, so I don't want to take that chance. So left this one alone, went with the 3. Comes with the Fulcrum trigger, comes with a couple of proprietary Allen wrenches. You do need those if you want to do adjustments. There are two triggers. The competition one has the fully adjustable trigger. You need the Allen wrenches for that, okay? The two settings. It comes from the factory preset. 99% of the time, it's going to be just fine. If you're type A and you want to dial it in, you can. I did not dial mine in. I'm very, very happy with mine. All right, the way it came. Firing pin safety. There's the original Glock one. The Zev's is stainless steel. It's real smooth. It has to do with how they rounded it out. I'll go ahead and pop that in there. That's very good. That lends itself to smooth trigger pull. And then the other piece that you get is your connector. There is the Glock factory connector. The Zev's is skeletonized and polished. And this does look scary. Competition use only. You can see how it's shaped differently than, minutely different than the OEM connector. I went ahead and put in the race connector. Factory spring setup. You see that? The polished bar? That's it. It just installs. You take the 3 pins out, bang, bang, bang. Real simple. Watch a video on how to do that. This whole assembly comes out. The other one just drops right in. You finagle it, put it back together, and you're in business. The spring here is already there. I got a little oil on here, but you can see it polished. Awesome. So that's it. Once you would get it into place, reverse all your pins back into the gun, give it your test fire, and you'll feel a difference right away. The big thing about the Fulcrum trigger is that it's a flat face trigger. These do come in red anodized. If you don't like that, red, blue, and black. Mine just happened to come black. It's a different trigger for a Gen 3 than it is a Gen 4. In the packaging, they'll come with a little plastic band that you got to clip off with a little pair of scissors or your, Leatherman tool. Okay. 100%. Just can't show it to you. My old trigger, if I was to break it all back out, put it in, absolutely, this guy was 5 pounds, 5 3/4 pounds. That's exactly what it looked like repetitively on a relatively new Glock. I probably have less than 1,000 rounds at the time. When I first tested it, before I went with the new trigger, probably had about 500 rounds through the gun. A couple weeks ago when I dropped this in, I was at 5 pounds, 5 3/4 pound pull consistently. All right, now let's do a trigger pull on the Zev Fulcrum. A little over 4.5 pounds. So that's with the race connector and the springs, all the Zev components. There you go. This is what I most often get every pull, a solid 4.5 pounds. So we went down from 6 3/4 to 4.5. Just a tad over 4.5. I think that's the perfect carry weight. Anything around 2 pounds, 3 pounds, I start to get nervous. The company's out of Oxnard, California. Zev specializes in high-end competition. They even say military. If you go to their website, they say they do military contracts and things like that. Don't know. Can't really vouch for all that. I'm just telling you what their site says. They recently merged with another company. Looks like Zev has been specializing in high-end premium components for pistols. Now they're getting into ARs and things like that. I am very pleased with my Zev Trigger. I didn't think I would like a flat-faced trigger because I'm used to a rounded edge. Your finger, just shy of the crease and the bottom half of your pad, your accuracy fits really good for me. If it's more about the science of shooting is more about the grip size, the amount of back straps, your hand. You don't want to overcompensate like this because you'll pull down. You have a tendency to pull your gun down if you have too much finger. If you're too much on the fleshy part of your pad, you have a tendency to shoot. If you don't know this, then hey, do a little more research of what I'm about to tell you. If you use too much pad on your finger where it's fleshy and you're kind of all on the trigger, what you're going to do is you're going to notice that you shoot to the left. Because what it is when you're shooting, the gun's turning like this. Okay, El Snacho, don't jerk the trigger. You want to try to find the right balance. A flat face trigger works pretty good. I just put this little guy just shy of the center of my crease. I know where my landmark is, and I pull straight back. Pulling straight back, it gives me accuracy. So my accuracy in class in marksman shooting is much better now that I have this trigger. It's a fact. It's not mental or anything like that kind of thing. As I already said, you have to make your own decision on if you're going to go down to the aftermarket parts route. I get it. I understand. I can just tell you, for me, I was quite surprised. If I shoot any of my other Glocks, and when I do, I don't have a problem changing out the trigger anymore. This guy is all metal, by the way, not polymer. This guy, so far, has been 100% reliable. Everybody I've asked, I said, hey, I asked him the default. Would you put your life on it? Yes. So far, I would say yes on this. There's nothing jinky. There's no parts falling off my trigger. It does, again, as I said earlier, it's the same back half components as this. So I see mechanically and physically that it looks like it's going to be just fine. This, by the way, is where your race connector is going to go. That's your factory connector, and that race connector goes right in there. And there you have it. I'm very pleased with the trigger. I know that there are the whole vast world of aftermarket components out there. Do a little research. At some point, you got to just jump off the end and then deep into the pool and go for it. Pick the best one that sounds good in your application. Take it out to the range and shoot it. All right, folks, as you can see, this is my race gun. I'm adding some stuff to it. It's not my everyday carry, but I'm enjoying hooking it up. Check out my new sights. I'm going precision-based with fiber optic front. More to come. This will be my project gun. So listen, as always, folks, check out these Larry Vickers rear end sight real quick. Nice, bright. As always, I appreciate you watching. This is JS. We're out of here.